Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's 12:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am decidedly not Chad Benson. I am Brian Wilson filling in for Chad Benson, and here on Super Talk 99.7. Happy to be here. Hope your day is going well. Hope things are going well for you, as we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A ton of stuff to talk about. First of all, we've got stuff going on with the economy. We got stuff. This reflecting pool controversy has really become a thing that has just completely hacked me off. You are going to want to throw things at your radio, not at me personally, but at the radio, because you're going to be so frustrated when you hear what the vandals have done to the reflecting pool, because they hate Donald Trump so much. We'll get into that. And in the 11 o'clock hour, we just sort of need a palate cleanser, I think. And we're going to get into all of these Europeans, all of these foreigners are coming to America for the World Cup. And they came here with certain expectations about what they would find, because they've been hearing horrible things about America from their press in Europe and wherever. And you know what? They're coming to America and they're experiencing America for themselves. They wouldn't normally come here. They're soccer fans, but they come here for the soccer and they leave here loving America. It's so exciting to see people come to America and look at it with fresh eyes. And you know what it does for me? It makes me think, wow. You know, we don't really appreciate in this country just how good we have it. And it makes me more prideful about, or if it's even possible, to be more prideful about the country that I live in. I'm proud of America, and we are, by having people there. Donald Trump made these arrangements to have the World Cup here in America. And because they have come to America for the World Cup, we are finding that attitudes about the evil Satan are, we're not the evil Satan. We're a country full of really nice people and amazing things to see and do, and a culture that they're observing, and they're liking what they see. And we're going to do a whole couple of segments on that, and you're going to hear from these people. And I think it's going to be very uplifting. And then, listen, I think there's other stuff going on. The midterm elections, Kamala with more word salad, and perhaps my favorite story of the day. Apparently there's going to be, after 20 years of waiting, another Austin Powers movie.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
And I can't wait for that. We'll talk about it. Let's start with Iran. A lot of stuff going on with regard to that. As you know, there were talks over the weekend in Switzerland. The vice president was there, and he is saying that there has been great progress being made. Here is J.D. Vance as he emerged from these talks with the Iranians, being, sort of mediated by the Pakistanis. But one way or the other, he says he thinks great progress has been made.
So look. Yesterday was a very, very good day. We made a lot of good progress. We did exactly what we wanted to do, which is accomplish four things for the American people. First, we wanted to build a mechanism for keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. It is open. We've seen, of course, gas prices and oil prices come down, millions and millions of barrels of crude and natural gas flowing through the Strait of Hormuz that weren't flowing before. But we also wanted to make sure that we actually set up the coordination mechanism so that we could demine the Straits of Hormuz, so that when there are the conflicts that inevitably come up, we can make sure we work through them rather than that leading to escalation. And that is exactly what we did yesterday.
Now, I think that is really important because we're dealing with the people who are ostensibly in charge now of Iran, but there are many, many, many disparate factions within Iran. After the attack that wiped out 3 levels of leadership, as you can imagine, there's a power vacuum. People are rushing in to fill the power vacuum. A lot of people who are still around, who are in the 3rd level, see an opportunity here. And so they're going to do things from time to time. There are going to be elements within Iran that the government of Iran is apparently not in control of. And they're going to do things to try to start the war. They have different opinions about America. They're not looking for a peace deal. And so, it is important to have a deconfliction process, I think, so that somebody can pick up a red phone and talk to somebody in Iran and say, what's going on here? And find out whether, and have some conversations about it, rather than it blowing up the entire peace deal just because some minor faction over here decides they want to stir the pot. More from J.D. Vance.
Number two, we also wanted to build a similar mechanism for deconfliction for the regional ceasefire. As the President of the United States has himself said, sometimes these ceasefires just mean you're shooting a little bit less, but we wanted to make sure that we had the proper coordination set up so that if there is shooting, if Hezbollah fires at Israel or if Israel responds, if there are other conflicts that arise in the region, we're actually talking to each other and figuring out how to stop the shooting, how to make the region safer, our allies, and everybody else. We set that up as well. Number three, and this is probably what we're most excited about as Americans, the Iranians have agreed to invite IAEA inspectors back into their country.
Those are people who are familiar with the nuclear side. They go in and try to, they are the experts on atomic weapons, nuclear material production, etc.
That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. That's exactly what we asked to happen. We made a lot of great progress on other nuclear talks. And that leads me to the final thing that we wanted to accomplish, which is actually set up the process for the technical negotiations that will follow. Our teams working with the Iranians, the Qataris, and the Pakistanis made great progress yesterday. They will continue to work at the technical level with the teams here in Bergenstock, and then those technical negotiations are going to continue over the weeks and days to come. We wanted to set up a structure for that so that you could have proper political oversight, but obviously, as much as this place is very beautiful, I can't stay here for the next 60 days. I'm about to go back home to the United States, but the technical teams are going to be working with proper oversight to make sure that we're accomplishing the objectives that matter for everybody.
Well, number one, let me just pause for a moment from the Iran conversation. J.D. Vance is a beast in front of a microphone. He is so good at taking things. There's no script. He's not reading a script. He's just talking to you, which shows to me that this guy got a brain. I mean, he is so smart. Between him and Marco Rubio, that's the Trump brain trust in my estimation. These two guys are wickedly smart and great communicators. And it's really great to have somebody in the vice presidential role, as we will find out later in this program, who can actually put a sentence together and talk to you in an intelligent way. He's the right guy to be involved in these negotiations. Absolutely. So let me read a couple of more stories here that I found about this, different takes. CNBC, Vance hails great progress in U.S.-Iran talks despite threatening and whining. Talks between the U.S. and Iran have made great progress. Speaking on Monday, Vance said the talks in Bergenstock, Switzerland were continuing, and Tehran had agreed to permit IAEA inspectors back into Iran. The talks were strained over the weekend when Iran announced it had closed the Strait of Hormuz over Israeli strikes on Lebanon, saying that they violated the ceasefire. Yes, there was a little bit of threatening and there was a little bit of whining, but at the end of the day, the talks continued and we made great progress, says Vance. Earlier, Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, said that Araghchi, I think that's right, said his talks had yielded major progress. Vance said that while a good foundation for a successful final deal has been laid, there is still a lot of work to do, particularly around the demining of the Strait of Hormuz. High-level talks, U.S.-Iran conclude, writes the Washington Post. Negotiations were shaken for a moment by President Donald Trump's threat of fresh attacks, but they got back together and they worked it out. And look, I think when you see the Iranian leaders spouting off about the great Satan and how Iran has come out of this thing so much stronger, that's propaganda, and that's meant for internal consumption. And I think sometimes the things that Donald Trump says is made for internal consumption as well, one way or the other. They did have, I think, pretty good progress inside these negotiations. Here's what Trump said. Fed up Trump threatens to blow the crap, I'll just have to clean that up a little bit, out of Iran, prompting Tehran to storm out of U.S. peace talks for a short few minutes. They were abandoned for 80 minutes. The president said this thing, and they said, well, we are offended. And, it's all a big dog and pony show. They're not offended. They've said far worse. But for 80 minutes, they made a big stink, and then they came back in, as J.D. Vance said, after a lot of whining. But I'm trying to read through some of this. It's Washington Post, you have to do a little editing. The president's most explicit warning was aimed at Tehran. You won't even make it back to your effing country, Trump said. If you close the Strait of Hormuz, you won't have a country. Well, he's right to send that shot across his bow. And I would say to you, while J.D. Vance is in Switzerland and he's knee deep in these negotiations, and all his intellect and mental ability focused on trying to get the right deal for America in the midst of all of this, he may not have been aware of this or that is coming across Trump's desk because he's focused on it in a different way. Trump is looking at the big picture there, and something hacked him off about what the Iranians were doing in the Strait of Hormuz. But, I think the Strait of Hormuz, as best I can tell, things are moving. There may be, again, you have to understand that inside Iran, you've got all of these different factions that, are not maybe clued in to what the Iranian leadership is trying to accomplish in Switzerland. I mean, there's a lot of cowboys. there's a lot of people who just, have a little bit of power and some weaponry, and they're gonna create problems because they hate America and they don't want to give up the fight just yet. I don't know why you would do that. So here is also what the problem with that Donald Trump has is trying to keep the Israelis in line. And very quickly, let me get this in the system. Donald Trump talking about Israel, and somebody was asking him, what is your relationship like with Israel, given that Israel's not thrilled about some of the things that we're negotiating. Here's what Donald Trump had to say.
If it weren't for Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu worked well with me, but he will tell you, we're the ones with the guns, we're the ones with the whole deal. We're the ones with the B-2 bombers, etc. If it weren't for Donald Trump, Israel would have been eviscerated.
Your relationship with Netanyahu's...
It's good, but we have to keep him a little bit sane.
He was searching for the right word there, wasn't he?
Sane.
Are you going to be able to control Israel from attacking Lebanon?
Yeah, I will be. I mean,
how?
I want... they have a lot of respect for me, and they do as I say.
Well, that's a pretty powerful statement.
Remember this. If I don't terminate the JCPOA, remember, that was a road to a nuclear weapon.
That was the previous nuclear agreement.
Legally. It says right there. And Obama thought he could pay them off. He gave them billions and billions of dollars, $1.7 billion in cash. He was a well-known story, but it didn't work. You can't bribe your way out of it. You can't pay off your way. But if I didn't do that, and if I didn't attack their nuclear supply 10 months ago with the B-2 bombers, Israel would not exist today.
Well, he's right. They were getting close. Look, everybody, not everybody, a lot of people are criticizing, even on our side of the equation, criticizing Donald Trump for going into Iran and starting a low-grade war with Iran to destroy their nuclear weapons. And they say, look, you don't know what intelligence he had. You don't know what came across his desk. And you don't know how close they were. Donald Trump, and I trust him on this, became absolutely convinced that Iran was getting really close to having a nuclear weapon. And what have they said? What is their sworn, policy of Iran? That we will do everything we can to destroy Israel. So how would you have felt if there had been, a nuclear attack against Israel? You would have said, Donald Trump didn't do the job. Donald Trump dropped the ball. Donald Trump wasn't on the job. Yeah, that's what the critics would have said. He did what was right, which was to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon and make sure that they can't put that kind of capability back together anytime soon. And if nothing else, that has been accomplished. That has been accomplished inside as a result of the attacks against Iran. And now it seems like we're poised to be on the cutting edge of a deal that might actually change the face of the entire Mideast. It could be a real movement toward peace here. And we still have some roller coaster days ahead of us. Got to take a quick break at 21 minutes now past the hour of 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We'll have more on the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations at the bottom of the hour. Also, a close call at a major Northeast airport. And back here in Nashville, an arrest in the shooting death of a 12-year-old boy. Again, we'll have those stories at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, Jay Harper, good to have you in the chair today.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, man, we got to stop meeting like this. We were
I know.
together last week.
Somebody told me I was retired. It doesn't feel like it. I don't know. What happened there? I can't quite figure it out. Well, it's good to have you there. A lot of going on with the news. I want to move into a conversation. We've been talking about what's going on with Iran. And let's talk about now the stuff that matters to you most, and that is how this all impacts your gasoline prices. I mean, because really that's the thing that really, that's where you live, isn't it? That hits your own wallet. I understand it. And people have been really worried and upset, understandably, about gasoline prices, because when gasoline prices go up, inflation goes up, the economy takes a hit. And these are things that you got to watch out for. However, I've always said, as soon as we start to, move into a peace process with Iran, just watch how quickly the oil and gas prices were dropped. I did a check the other day. I think at the peak, West Texas Intermediate crude was at about $100 and maybe $12 or $14 a barrel. West Texas crude now selling for $74 a barrel. Brent crude was, I think, $121, I want to say, at its peak, $77 a barrel. The perfect, I think, for the oil company would say no to this, but I think for what seems fair, for the oil companies to get a profit and for us not to be gouged, we need that to get down to about $60, $65 a barrel. But look how far it has fallen. And I don't know, what does that mean to your gasoline prices? What does it mean when you fill up your pump? And I'm going to shock you again with the difference that it is right in our own area. So the national average for a gallon of gas has now fallen pretty well below $4 a gallon. It was at like $4.12, $4.50 in some places. In California, it was outrageous. National average all across the country is now $3.92 a gallon. In Tennessee, the average all across the entire state is $3.50 a gallon. But you can do better than that. If you go to Wilson County, here in our area, where I'm broadcasting from in bucolic Watertown, Wilson County, the average for a gallon of gas is $3.37 a gallon. Well below the national average. It's like, nearly 55 cents below the gallon of gas in the national average. Davidson County, if you go across, though, into Davidson County, you will pay, on average, 19 cents more a gallon for gasoline. I don't understand why that is. It all comes from the same place. Williamson County, if you go into Williamson County, you're going to pay just under $4 a gallon for gas, $3.99. 62 cents more per gallon than in Wilson County. And, when you say, well, that I don't know why anybody fills their tanks up in Williamson County. Let's just do a quick, assessment of that. That's 0.62 on my calculator times 20. How many gallons of gas in your tank? That's going to cost you to fill up in Williamson County. I don't know why this is. It's going to cost you $12 more a tank than it would if you filled up in Wilson County. Come to Wilson County, man. We got gasoline. We'll sell it to you. Let's see. Very quickly, the other stuff that I thought was interesting. Trump saying that he believes the next step could be Cuba. And he suggested Cuba would follow a similar path to Venezuela, saying that such a scenario is possible, and his administration continues to work on its policy toward the communist-run island. I don't think we're going to have a military conflict there, but if we do, it seems to me he's thinking about the Venezuelan model rather than the Iranian model. In and out very quick. It's 12:30 now on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check in with Jay Harper with all the news.
Yes, it is 12:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have another forecast coming up. In the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations, mediators say that both sides... Mediators say both sides have agreed to a new 60-day roadmap toward a final deal. Technical negotiations on nuclear issues and sanctions now said to be the main focus. Here's former State Department official Aaron David Miller, who spoke with ABC News.
Unlike the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action 2015, where the U.S. was joined by the other 4 members of the Security Council in Germany, we're going solo here with the Pakistanis and the Qataris, and their leverage on Iran is going to be limited.
Back here in the States, federal investigators looking into a close call at Boston's Logan Airport. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez with details.
A spokesperson from Flight Radar 24 telling us that Delta was about 500 feet above the departing American flight as it crossed that runway. So listen to some of the ATC audio.
American 3161, where are you going? You cleared us for takeoff, 3161.
And the FAA telling us in a statement that the crew of the Delta flight executed a go-around at Boston Logan because another aircraft was departing from an intersecting runway.
Back here in Nashville, Metro Police have charged a 24-year-old man with criminal homicide after a 12-year-old boy was shot and killed in downtown Nashville last night. Authorities say Devin Orr fired the fatal shot during a fight involving a group of about 10 to 15 teens on Union Street at about 7:30 last night. The victim's been identified as 12-year-old Demarion Moorhead. He was shot and rushed to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in extremely critical condition. He later died from his injuries. Police say the group had gathered at the area of Union Terrace for what appeared to be some kind of planned fight. Detectives detained multiple people involved before arresting Orr early this morning at a residence on Fisk Street. Orr has been charged with criminal homicide. No bond has been set, at least currently. That is the latest news. We've got weather coming up. In fact, we've got some storms headed our way from the southwest, so be prepared. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find it.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little
Okay.
further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls, causing issues, settlement, or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and
Sure.
schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
This just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt,
All
we
right.
appreciate you.
1236. You're listening to Nashville's talk leader, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Chad Benson Show. Chad's off. I'm in today. Brian Wilson in for Chad Benson. And we want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the swamp. It seems that, the swamp is very aptly named right now because we've got this reflecting pool that is looking a little bit like a swamp itself. It's full of all kinds of algae, and now if you don't know, the reflecting pool is a long stretch of water that runs between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. And as you climb up to see Abraham Lincoln at the Lincoln Memorial, and you turn around and look back down the mall, you get the Washington Monument perfectly reflected in this wonderful pool of water, and it's an awe-inspiring sight. But over the years, I don't know, it seemed like in Washington they just weren't taking care of things like the Washington Monument and all of the beautiful fountains and all of the beautiful statues that we have there have sort of fallen into disrepair. And Donald Trump has been doing everything he can to clean up the city of Washington. I mean, literally, in both politically and physically, with a scrub brush, cleaning up Washington D.C. because it was dirty, filthy, and it fallen into something of disrepair. The reflecting pool is a perfect example of this. So he comes up through the Interior Department with a plan to fix the reflecting pool, and it was leaking. I've read somewhere 40,000 gallons of water a day. It was a travesty, and they were just pumping in water from the river and water from the basin there near the Jefferson Memorial to fill that thing, and it wasn't the best quality water, and they always had algae. It was disgusting. It was brown. It smelled bad. It was filled with goose poop. It was, and so he comes in, drains it. They clean it all up, they seal it all up, and they come up with this blue plastic coating. That's just really amazing stuff that was supposed to seal it and then give a wonderful dark, almost black, blue color. It's so popular right now. I mean, I got that in my kitchen when we rehabbed the kitchen. And so it was designed to reflect brilliantly back when it was filled with water. The Washington Monument, but seems like there were problems as soon as they got the water in there. They finished the job very quickly. It looked great. They put the water in there, and all of a sudden now they got algae again. They're going, where's the algae coming from? Well, don't worry about that. The algae was in the pipes, and we'll skim it, and we'll treat it, and we'll get it all out of there. And so they treated it, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. The algae, they're scooping up the algae, and they're trying to clean it up. And then for some reason, it looks like the plastic coating started to come unhinged, and it was torn, and it was apparently cut by vandals. So what happened here? My theory, and I think this is ultimately what's going to be proven to be correct, is that the people who hate Donald Trump and don't want anything that has his initials attached to it, and there was a lot of coverage about this in the Washington, D.C. area and elsewhere, I think that the anti-Trump derangement people threw something into the water that caused the algae to bloom, and they threw something in the water that caused this stuff to become, for lack of a better word, delaminated. And then there were people who went there and physically cut it and started tearing the rubber sealant stuff underneath the water up. And so the reason that this thing has failed, I believe, and I think time will, in the fullness of time, you'll back me up on this. You'll think I'm right. I think that it was vandalized. So does the President of the United States. President Donald Trump said on Saturday, terrible vandals had sabotaged his renovation project of the reflecting pool in Washington, which will have to be revamped again as it was blighted with algae and peeling paint. Trump has championed the makeover of the 610-meter-long pool, bringing in contractors to drain it and paint it American flag blue. But not long after the job was complete, the paint began to visibly peel, and the gleaming waters promptly refilled with green pond scum. As workers scrambled to pump out murky water and dumped hydrogen peroxide into the pool, Trump said that it was not shoddy workmanship. We met with contractors today. We will probably be forced to release and drain much of the water in order to do the necessary repairs, but we will have them done as quickly as possible. It's unclear how much that may add to the $14 million. Well, I mean, it's not his fault if it was vandalized. In the lengthy social media post, the 80-year Republican claimed renovations had, quote, worked perfectly before disgraceful vandalism, accusing unnamed saboteurs of taking some form of knife or blade to the pool and put a 250-foot-long gash into it and pouring corrosive and destructive chemicals into the pool. How do they know that? They can test the water. Trump offered no evidence. I don't think he's saying this without having some evidence. One person accused of being in the reflecting pool as a vandal is former Olympian David Hearn, who told the Washington Post he was on a 52-mile bike ride when he stopped by the Lincoln, 52-mile bike ride, wow, stopped at the Lincoln Memorial to see the reflecting pool renovations for himself. He said he just reached down to touch a part of the detached blue paint, and he was immediately surrounded by 2 members of the National Guard and arrested by park police on a misdemeanor charge of destruction of government property. He says he didn't destroy or break anything, but there you go. Trump vents growing frustrations with reflecting pool problems, Wall Street Journal. He poured out his frustrations and problems plaguing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, saying that multiple people had been arrested and it would have to be drained for repairs. Trump said on social media on Sunday that he inspected the pool himself. I think he flew over it in his helicopter on Marine One, and said work will begin immediately on fixing the seriously vandalized reflecting pool. Videos on social media showed at least one person arrested near the pool in recent days. Federal law enforcement under federal law destroying government property. You ready for this? The people, if there are people convicted, and apparently several people have been arrested, and if they can find out who did this, and you think there's not camera footage somewhere? Surely there is. Sure, in Washington, D.C., surely there is. The reflecting pool, he says, if you're 10 years in prison, $250,000 fine. Someone who causes only minor damage faces up to a year in prison and a $100,000 fine. Trump said the vandals also destroyed the grass surrounding the pool. He may be talking about grass down on the mall where somebody destroyed the grass and tried to carve out 8647 into the grass. And I mean, come on. Just that tells you that the vandals are at work in Washington, D.C., and the Trump derangement syndrome has hit them so hard that they're now trying to destroy the beautiful, wonderful green spaces and the wonderful monuments inside Washington. It makes me mad. It makes me really angry. 5 people have been arrested for vandalism as of Saturday night. More than a dozen police reports were filed for vandalism, including one that reported a blade was used to slash a section of the pool. Trying to read through all the rest of this. Anyway, there we go. Now, Jeanine Pirro, Judge Jeanine, you know her. She's now the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and on Sunday, her office said that they would prosecute individuals caught vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial. Anyone who's in a position of vandalizing or attempting to vandalize the reflecting pool will face the criminal justice system in D.C. Look, the president has made a priority to make D.C. not only safe but beautiful. We met with, there's more from Trump. U.S. Attorney said several citations have been issued to individuals who have defaced federal property, while noting the people involved would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If there are more serious products that were put into the reflecting pool to create more algae or bigger problems, then we'll consider more serious charges. But make no mistake, making D.C. beautiful is a priority. If you damage, vandalize, or do anything to impact something like the reflection pool, you will be prosecuted. Well, I think that's right. Here's the thing about the lawn. Earlier this month, the numbers 8647 were etched in the grass near the reflecting pool days before the president's 80th birthday and that big UFC fight over at the White House. Trump has argued the phrase is a death threat. No different than the chemicals that were used on the National Mall. They used something similar at the reflecting pool to try to restore and demean our beautiful work, Trump said on Friday. So, look, here's the thing. They're going to get in there and they're going to drain it and they're going to patch it. And I guarantee you they'll put up portable cameras. They'll make sure that thing is being patrolled 24/7 because, Trump is just not going to back down. But how reprehensible is it that something that was done to beautify, and it was beautiful. You have people who on the left who complain about the color. Anything Donald Trump does is there's going to be somebody who complains about this, that, or the other. But I mean, I think if you take all the politics out of it and you look what they did, and then you saw how good it looked when they filled it with water, and you could see the reflection, it was gorgeous. It was fantastic. And the blue is really not something that you see a lot of because what you're seeing is a base for the reflection of the sky in the calm waters of the reflecting pool. This is a historic place. I mean, this is where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. This is hallowed ground. And just because Donald Trump's name is attached, if it had just been, somebody, if they had just come in and Trump wasn't the president and they said, we're going to spend $15 million to repair the pool here, not a word had been said about it. It's only because Donald Trump's name is attached to this project that it is drawn the attention of the people with the Trump deranged syndrome. They hate this guy so much, and they hate America so much, that they're going to go out and pour chemicals into the reflecting pool that cause the work that has just been completed to become delaminated, to cause an algae bloom there. Apparently, it's even killing the ducks, one hears. Whatever they put in the water was toxic, and they'll test the water and they'll know exactly what it was. It doesn't take anything to get an algae bloom going. You could throw some fertilizer, just a few scoops of fertilizer into that in the late of night when nobody's watching, and you're going to get an algae bloom. So, I mean, it's not, phosphates would cause that. So, it's not that hard to do. But at the end of the day, what does it say about these people? This is why we can't have nice things. Look, the town is looking good. I used to walk every day. Just people say, well, what's that building over there, Brian? When I would give them a tour, well, as I said, that's one of the most important buildings in all of Washington. That's Union Station, and that's where I go for lunch. And I used to walk from the Bureau over to Union Station. We all did, to get our lunch, and there's a gigantic fountain. It hadn't had water in it in forever. But it's a beautiful fountain. I think Christopher Columbus the statue is there, and it's fantastic. It's been vandalized. It hasn't had water in it in a while. Somebody just came in and scrubbed him up and cleaned him up and power washed him and steamed him. And that statue is gleaming white. It's beautiful. And then they repaired the fountain and they painted a nice light color so that the water reflects beautifully. And they've got water flowing through the thing for the first time in forever. And people walking by going, wow. I had no idea it could look that good. Anything that it really is, it's a transformation that's happening inside Washington, and it's exciting to see. And I hope that there are people who get caught in this reflection pool deal that will do an honest 10 years in prison. Think about that. Was it worth it? I hope that they learned that it was not. 51 minutes now past the hour of 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Of course, we'll have more on the reaction to the negotiations of the U.S.-Iran peace deal and an arrest on disturbing charges at the Nashville airport. We'll have that and more coming up at 1 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I love Austin. Now, he has said that he would like the new film to focus on Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil. The franchise breakout villain. Fans have long speculated about a return, but no official production has been announced. I was watching some show, and there was a commercial with the sets, the backdrops. He was in complete Dr. Evil gear. It was Rob Lowe was there, and some of the other people who were in the original movies were there. And I thought, something's up. Well, I think it is up. And what it means is that we're all about to get a real treat here. That's right. We're going to get more Austin Powers.
Oh, groovy, baby.
That's right.
Baby. It's a man, baby. Very shagadelic, baby. Yeah, baby, yeah. Stay very cool, baby. Au contraire, baby. Smashing, baby. You're one groovy baby.
And I'll tell you something. I love this movie, and I've never met a woman who likes Austin Powers. So this is great news for the guys of America, the women, not so much. All right, and on that note, listen, coming up in just a moment, we're going to have some fun the next hour. We're going to hear from the Europeans who are visiting America. They've been told to hate America all their lives, and they're finding out, hey, we've been lied to. You're going to hear some amazing stuff that's going to make you swell up with American pride. But right now, time for the news with Jay Harper at 1 o'clock.
It is 1 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got rain in the area. We'll get you that forecast here momentarily. In the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations, mediators say that both sides have agreed to a new 60-day roadmap toward a final deal. Technical negotiations on nuclear issues and sanctions now said to be the main focus. Nuclear inspections in Iran are said to begin this week. That's according to Vice President Vance. ABC's Karen Travers reports.
Vice President Vance announced in Switzerland earlier Monday that Iran agreed to let international nuclear inspectors into the country. Now, President Trump is weighing in, writing on social media that Iran will have to, quote, agree to have major weapons inspections in order to ensure nuclear honesty long into the future. Inspections were included in the nuclear agreement reached with Iran during the Obama administration in 2015. President Trump pulled the U.S. out of that during his first term, and Iran then began limiting inspections.
Back here in Nashville, a man is facing charges after he allegedly pointed a gun at people walking along Broadway on Friday night. Police say he had been sitting in a vehicle pointing the laser on his Glock at people standing outside a popular bar. The man's been identified as 27-year-old D'Angelo Venoy. He's also charged with threatening officers with a beating that would cause them to be, quote, black and blue. He's now behind bars on an $80,000 bond. A 44-year-old Canadian man has been arrested by the FBI at Nashville International Airport. He's been arrested on charges of online enticement of a minor and distribution of child porn. Alexander Towns, he was taken into custody on June 15th after he arrived from Ottawa, Canada. Federal authorities say that from early May through the day of his arrest, Towns communicated online with an undercover officer posing as a minor and sought to engage in sexual acts. FBI Special Agent in Charge, Olivia Olson, warned that child predators who think they're anonymous online should know that there's a pretty good chance the FBI's on the other end. If convicted, Towns faces 10 years to life in federal prison. And a legendary music icon, Clive Davis, has passed away. Here's ABC's Mike Dubusky with more.
A 5-time Grammy winner and a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Clive Davis is credited with discovering and guiding some of the biggest musicians ever, from Aretha Franklin to Earth, Wind and Fire to modern acts like Maroon 5 and Alicia Keys. A statement from his family says Davis shaped the soundtrack of countless lives and left an indelible mark on our culture.
Davis's family says that he died peacefully in New York City yesterday. Well, actually, this morning is when that apparently went down. The man was 94 years old. That's the latest news. Weather's coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Hey, it's 6 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Brian Wilson in the chair for Chad Benson. Glad to be here on this beautiful, well, it's not beautiful, actually. It's sort of muggy out there. Monday, June 22nd. Keep an eye to the sky. We do have some thunderstorms moving into the area. Nothing that seems to be critical at the moment, but, be weather aware. Be weather aware. Eye to the sky. I want to spend some time today doing something fun. I mean, so much of the news is depressing, and we get very frustrated, and it seems like, it's the same old some days. Every once in a while, you got to have a palate cleanser. And this is fun stuff, and it's going to make you swell up with American pride. It truly is. We here in America, I think when you look at and understand, how the rest of the world operates, we have it pretty good here. We really do. We really have a country that I think, is far and above in quality of life issues of any other country in the world. I can't think of any that has a better quality of life. And we're an unusual lot when you compare us to the rest of the world. And we are vilified in the foreign press. The country is always talked down, and over time, people who live in Europe and other countries who have come to have an opinion about America that is not at all accurate. And you know what is blowing all that up? All of these people who are coming from around the world who would never come to America otherwise, but they're such rabid soccer fans that they're coming to America for the World Cup games, and they are loving their experience. I've not found anybody who's been particularly critical. The people that are coming here and are posting stuff on social media are just raving about what a great country we have here, and how, and this is the thing I think is really tragic, how all their lives they've been led by the media in their home countries to believe certain things of America, and then when they get here, they find out none of it is true. Here's the guy. We'll start with a guy. He's just walking around what I think is a subdivision, just a regular housing subdivision, middle-income folks, and I think maybe in the Houston area, but one way or the other, he's marveling. He says, it's exactly like we see in the movies.
His neighborhoods look exactly the same as every movie you've ever seen. The American flags, people have got race flags up. This old couple just walked past me and they go, good morning. I was like, what the hell? Did you guys talk to each other here?
We are a friendly bunch. And so he says, people say, good morning, hello. You say that. And the Europeans are going, you're talking to me. I don't know you. They're just surprised that Americans are so friendly.
Like, this is a high school stadium. What? Look at the amount of seats in this place.
He's at a what we would call a pretty, as high school stadiums go, it's a nice one. I've seen nicer. He's marveling at the kind of stadium that we have for a high school football team.
Do they actually fill these stadiums? Like, do people actually come for the games that actually fill these out? Because that's honestly mental. Like, that is crazy. There is a ton of seats in.
It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. There really is. Like no other. I honestly think unless you live in America, or unless you visit here, you can't really comprehend how nice these areas are.
Everybody's so friendly, southern hospitality. The air smells nice.
When you're in the UK, okay, if you're next to the beach, it smells. The beach doesn't smell here, right?
No, everything's beautiful.
I can refill this 1,000 times.
Yeah, but you won't drink 1,000 cups.
Yeah, now this is great. Everybody who comes to America is fascinated by the fact that when you go to America, like they will give you, if you go to a Mexican food restaurant, I heard one of them say, they will bring chips to your table and salsa. And if you eat the basket of chips, they'll bring you another basket of chips and more salsa. And it doesn't cost you anything. You come to, I love the people who've gone to the Texas Roadhouse, and they sit down and they said, and they brought me a basket of bread. I said, hey, I didn't order no bread. Oh, no, it's free. You're going to, free bread? And he said, yeah, and it's amazing bread. and they give you a special butter to go on it. They're just enamored. This guy is completely enamored by the fact that you can go and get a free refill for your soft drink.
Of course. You don't know me. And it's free.
You paid for it. You paid it.
Once.
I paid it once.
Bro, slow down.
Slow down, man. Don't drink too much. This guy's drinking like as much soda as he possibly can.
It's the best burger. Honestly, it's so good.
This woman has just stopped in and gotten her first In-N-Out burger.
And then I also got the animal style fries and the diet lemonade for balance. It's pink. I just love it here. Like, they have Bible verses on the bottom of their cup. Never.
Never. Bible verses. Can you imagine? Uh-oh. Messed up. Hang on.
I can never leave. I cannot live without this food.
I've been back home in the UK.
Listen to this.
I haven't felt like myself, which sounds so crazy. I now live for that adventure, that crazy lifestyle, that meeting new people, seeing new people every day, and I just long for it. And in America, it is so amazing. Seriously, Americans, what have you done to me?
Europeans are actually being lied to. We have been told our whole lives that American friendliness is fake or shallow. But I've been living in the Midwest for more than a decade, and I realized we're just wrong.
Insane. Like, just as good as Australian beaches.
Yeah, this guy's at an American beach, I think somewhere maybe in Florida. I'm not sure where he's at. But he's astonished. He said the beaches are amazing.
But if you log on to the news, everything's bad. Everyone's got blue hair. Everything's terrible. It's not.
For years and years, Europeans have taken the piss out of America. They're so loud. They're so rude. They're so stupid. Why is everything so big? Why do they love their country so much? All of those people right now are eating their words. Because of the World Cup, people who wouldn't normally go to America are going to America. I am seeing reaction videos everywhere. People are loving it. They are loving the food. They're loving the culture. They're loving the people. They're loving the size of everything. People are starting to understand how amazing America truly is, rather than just listening to the media and what other people have told them. Once you truly experience America, you won't want to go anywhere else in the world. And I'm loving this for you Americans.
Isn't that something? It makes me choke up, and I get that people around the world are coming to understand we're not the evil Satan. We're not a horrible race of people. We're not. Americans are by and large really, really good. We have our problems. Sure, every country has their problems, but when you compare it to others, I can't tell you the number of times I came across people. Some of the stuff I had to sort of edit out because of the language. But some of these people are talking about, I can walk down an alleyway here and not fear for my life. You can't do that in South Africa, he says. And people are talking about how they feel completely safe, and they came here fearing for their lives, that, well, this is going to be an adventure. We've got to be careful we don't get killed. And they're just completely disabused because that's what they've been told in their country.
People are bigging up America so much, especially the showmanship. Eagles flying around stadiums, music, dirt bikes doing flips, like insane. I love it. I'm happy for you guys, Americans.
It's okay to have good experiences within the USA. And I know that's not what people expect. I know when I first told people we was moving to America, there was a lot of negativity, and a lot of it does stem from the media. What every other country is saying about America gives everyone a preconceived expectation of what they think America is going to be like. It's okay to come here and love it. It's okay to come here and love everything that America has to offer, and everything that comes with living in America. America is everything that you expect and more. Once you come to America and you experience America, whether it's on holiday, vacation, or moving to this country, that's when you really start to see the real America, and you start to realize that maybe what the media have told you isn't necessarily true.
How about that? What the media told you may not be necessarily true. The World Cup, this World Cup that Donald Trump helped to bring to America, has done probably more to change the image of America around the world than anything you could possibly imagine. I mean, really, I can't find any videos. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't found them, of people who are complaining. I came here to America and they ripped me off. You know, none of that.
What the media have told you isn't necessarily true.
The media portrays Americans as rude, lazy, all the above, and it's further from the truth.
That's not true at all.
The amount of hospitality and kindness and care and pride Americans hold is truly like no other country I've been to.
Welcome to Nashville, here in Tennessee.
Yeah, now here's a couple of guys, and their accents are so thick, I don't know, I had a hard time understanding everything they said, but they've come, and they're on Lower Broad, and they are astonished.
I don't quite know where I am right now. Kieran, where are we?
Well, no honky tonk apparently.
Honky tonk. Apparently this is the main strip around the area. I'm a bit confused because I've just been dropped off and I'm just getting my bearings right now. I think that's what it is. The weather is beautiful, by the way. Full of music, but this strip, by the way, what on earth? What is going on?
What am I actually saying?
I don't know what I was expecting. Obviously, I know this place is all about music, don't get me wrong. But that is probably all I knew. Did not expect it to be like this. But every bar you go in to get food, to get a drink, there's live music everywhere.
Live music, imagine that.
There is so much more to see in America than the big cities. While they're great, go to the national parks, explore the small towns, ask locals for recommendations, because that is where I found the prettiest and coolest spots I've ever seen. Okay, and the last thing and the main thing is how much I've fallen in love with America, how much I want to explore America. It has truly opened me up to a person I never was, never had the travel bug, never wanted to explore, but I'm falling so much more in love with it.
You deserve and are owed an apology.
Listen to
I'm going to
this.
say sorry.
Hold on a minute. I love this guy. And you know, he's feeling bad that America has gotten such a bum rap.
You deserve and are owed an apology. And I'm going to say sorry on behalf of all the countries outside America and their media and the narrative they paint about America. Hundreds and thousands of fans for the World Cup are now seeing America through their own eyes, realizing the narrative they've been fed is false. And they're now realizing America is not the place that they thought it was. And I am sorry the media in these countries outside of America paints you the way they do. America is rich in culture, scenery, the people are amazing. And the media in the countries outside of America paint this weird narrative that it's a place that you shouldn't go. But now the tides are changing. There is a shift that is happening. And I'm sorry you've been painted in this light for so long. And I'm so happy America is finally receiving the flowers that it deserves.
Let me just say, he's right about this. The people are coming here by the hundreds of thousands to attend the World Cup, and they're going to go back to their countries, and people are going to say, well, what was your trip to America like? And the guys you're going to hear comments like this. Oh, it's great. You know, it's not at all like they tell us it is. And they're going to go and they're going to. LBJ once said, Lyndon Baines Johnson once said that he wanted to shake as many hands as he could on a political basis. Somebody said, why? You know, we can be on the radio, we can be, on television. He said, no, I want to shake hands. He said, why? Well, because if I shake one man's hand and he has a positive experience with me and I say hello and we exchange a word and we shake hands, even if it's a brief encounter, he's going to tell 1,000 people that he met LBJ and what a nice guy he was. He said, and that's worth more than anything in the world, when you're in politics. These people are going to go back to America, and they're going to tell the story of what they experienced, and they're going to, it's going to change the way people view America in a huge way, because every person who goes to America is going to tell 1,000 people over time about their experience. Look, I got to take a break here, but I want to come. I'm loving this. I love this so much. We'll go to some more of it. Right now, I got to take a break at 21 minutes past the hour.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
Are Democrats waking up to the fact that 80-20 issues aren't exactly a good look to defend?
To the average person, the murder rate's about life and death. You don't brag about a rising murder rate. And the Democrats are, I agree with you, Mika, they're falling into the trap of defending what's indefensible.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. I mean, if it's not a winner politically.
I mean, I think she's right. It is a bit of a trap to root for these 80-20 issues, men and women's sports, boys in girls' locker rooms.
No, that's not 80-20. That's 97-3.
Fair. That's 97-3. But we also have illegal alien gang member, MS-13 members, Kilmar. Democrats defend him. We've seen Democrats rooting for a recession. All these 80-20 issues, and this is what made the Democrats realize it? How long until they forget again? A few hours, tops.
We'll have the latest developments on the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations. Also, Minnesota ICE raid subpoenas tossed. We'll have that story coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper. He's in the newsroom for Ken Weaver, who's taking a little vacation. I think I saw Ken with his sand in the toes, his toes in the sand, rather. So I think he's doing all right. Hey, listen, we're spending some time just appreciating the appreciation we're getting from the Europeans and others who've come here to visit the World Cup. I mean, I'm heavy on Brits and Aussies in this. I will grant you. And the reason you don't hear more French people, or you don't hear more African people, or you hear other people, you don't hear them as much in this, is because, well, the accents are so heavy, it's hard to understand them. I will say that. But it is exciting to see people coming to this country and having a universally great experience. And it's dashing everything they thought they knew about America.
You know, the stereotypical thoughts of America is that people are obese, but here, everyone is so fit. And
yeah, they're at Miami Beach, and they're remarkably impressed that all the people there are beautiful and skinny. Which, if you've ever been to Miami Beach, they are.
They made us
think that it was going to be so unsafe here. I feel super safe.
Yeah, this is the thing. They're amazing at how comfortable they feel here, because apparently they were terrified before they arrived. Oh, be careful. You know how rough it is in America.
They made us think that it was going to be so unsafe here. I feel super safe. There's police around. Yeah. There's safety cameras everywhere. Like, I don't know what's going on.
And here in Miami Beach, there's loads of Spanish music, and it's just like vibey everywhere. The food's been great. The people's been really nice.
Been fantastic.
Immigration on the way in was no issue at all.
They were so friendly. He was even making jokes with us. We were like, "What's going on? You're supposed to make us feel like scared to come in here." And he was like, "Come on in."
I think
Can you imagine that you're approaching the immigration desk and you're expecting a bad experience, and you meet a TSA person or an immigration official who says, "Hey, welcome to America. Come on in. We're excited that you're here." It's because we are a friendly nation.
It is, like, don't trust anything you see on TV or on social media. Go and look for yourself, right?
Yeah, guys, I'm at Bucky's. Okay,
this woman's at Bucky's, and universally, any person who's here from the World Cup that goes to a Bucky walks away with slack-jawed. They have never seen anything like something that we probably take for granted at Bucky's.
Right. Yeah, guys, I'm at Bucky's. Okay, a Russian heated Bucky's. I never seen anything like that. Ever.
Bucky's has slushies.
It's my favorite. Bucky's has slushies, coffee, sandwiches, bikinis.
Everything you want.
Everything you want.
At Costco, and I am trying the all-famous Costco hot dog.
Yeah, she's at Costco and she's checking out that famous 150 hot dog.
Obviously, I do have a Coke Zero, just very basic. I love a fountain machine. This is the Costco hot dog. I put some relish on it, a little bit of mustard, and a little bit of ketchup, and that is it. But it looks so good.
Then she eats it.
Go. Okay, I've only had a Costco hot dog like twice before, but my guilty pleasure might be that I really do like them. You come to Costco, you stroll the aisles, you buy loads of things you don't need, and then you get a hot dog and a soda for like $1.50 on the way out. This has to be like the most iconic dinner concoction in the world, right? Like, this is just so good.
Yeah, it's good. Isn't it exciting? Isn't it exciting to see America through fresh eyes? And then I would say to my friends on the left who whine and they bitch and they moan and they carry on about how horrible it is here in America, I say to you, look around, you ungrateful wretch. Do you not understand how lucky you were just by being born an American? And to be able to absorb all of the things that are going on in America, and to find out that the things you've been told for years and years and years in Europe is not true. Listen, in America, it is the land of opportunity, and people who are coming here are being disabused of the notion. I think it would be a good time for us as Americans to stop and perhaps just take a deep breath. When we look at the things in America that drive us so crazy, maybe we should just take a deep breath and consider how lucky we are to have been born Americans and how lucky we are to have the American experience. Europeans are learning that America is an exceptional place. Time for the news at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 1:30. I'm Jay Harper. I've got your top stories, and we have a weather forecast coming up. Of course, we've got rain in the area at the moment, but again, the forecast coming up. The Trump administration today saying progress is being made in the negotiations with Iran. The U.S. government issuing a waiver today to sanctions on Iranian oil, which is a controversial part of the deal. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
The State Department issuing that waiver, it means essentially that Iran is now free to sell that oil, and it's a move that makes good on one of the promises President Trump gave Iran in that MOU, and it is part of the criticism that President Trump has faced because of this deal, including from some within his own party, because it's going to allow Iran to essentially start making billions of dollars immediately.
Back here in the U.S., Justice Department subpoenas that are linked to ICE raids in Minnesota, they've been tossed out. Here's ABC's Alex Mullen. He's in D.C.
A federal judge on Monday tossed out multiple Justice Department subpoenas that were issued back in January to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and other officials tied to a federal investigation regarding the state's cooperation with immigration enforcement. Patrick Schiltz, the chief judge of the Minnesota Federal District Court, found that the subpoenas were part of a campaign to retaliate and pressure state officials who resisted cooperating with immigration and customs enforcement officers. The federal probe was announced against the backdrop of the Trump administration's aggressive surge in Minnesota that drew widespread protests and led to the deaths of 2 American citizens. Alex Mallon, ABC News, Washington.
Back here in Nashville, Metro Police have charged a 24-year-old man with criminal homicide after a 12-year-old boy was shot and killed in downtown Nashville last night. Authorities say Devin Orr fired the fatal shot during a fight involving a group of about 10 to 15 teens around 7:30. The victim's been identified as 12-year-old Damarian Moorhead. He was shot and rushed to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in extremely critical condition. He later died from his injuries. Police say the group was gathered in the area of Union Terrace for what appeared to be a planned fight. Detectives, they detained multiple people involved before arresting Orr early this morning at a residence on Fisk Street. He's been charged with criminal homicide. No bond has been set at this time. That is the latest news. Weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
Are Democrats waking up to the fact that 80-20 issues aren't exactly a good look to defend?
To the average person, the murder up's about life and death. You don't brag about a rising murder rate. And the Democrats are, I agree with you, Mika, they're falling into the trap of defending what's indefensible.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. I mean, if it's not a winner politically.
I mean, I think she's right. It is a bit of a trap to root for these 80-20 issues, men and women's sports, boys in girls' locker rooms.
No, that's not 80-20. That's 97-3.
Fair. That's 97-3. But we also have illegal alien gang member MS-13 members Kilmar. Democrats defend him. We've seen Democrats rooting for a recession. All these 80-20 issues, and this is what made the Democrats realize it? How long until they forget again? Few hours, tops.
is facing charges there after a woman was found.
It's 37 minutes now past the hour of 1 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. You're listening to the Chad Benson Show. I'm Brian Wilson in for Chad Benson. Good to be with you on this rainy Monday. It's rainy days and Mondays, that's right. A lot of rain moving in from the south and the west. We got rain over most of our area. Down to the south of us, right along the Alabama line. I'm trying to zoom in here, see if I can find out what that is near. But it's a little to the east of, I guess, Huntsville, where they have some tornadoes warnings going up. So, I don't think we're in for any severe weather. There's no alerts here other than, storms are coming. So just be aware that we could have some thunderstorms. But as I look at it, the storms in areas seem to be, the red seems to be coming out of the radar images. So that's a good thing. But be weather aware, and it is raining again. We went that long stretch where we didn't have any rain, but we certainly have made up for it, haven't we? In this half hour, I would like to talk about some of the crazy things that Democrats are doing. And there's a great story here. I found it at redstate.com about Kamala Harris. Kamala's new comment about Trump accountability has eyebrows going up. And then she serves more word salad. That's right. You have the unbelievable situation of Kamala Harris talking about accountability. Imagine that. She's talking, as you might imagine, to that Don Lemon guy. And here's how it starts.
I'm not a politician, but I think that the people who deserve to be prosecuted or whatever it is for misusing the Justice Department and abusing, I believe, American citizens and American politicians.
Hold on a minute. Does he not remember what the Biden people did to Trump? They did. I mean, come on. How can you be blind to that, Don?
Whether you want to say political rivals or whatever, I think that they should face, some sort of justice.
Oh, well, I absolutely believe that. And I believe that there should be that there should be accountability.
Accountability. Kamala Harris believes in the concept of accountability. All right, well, let's talk about a thing that, you, during your time as vice president in the Biden administration, that perhaps you should have been accountable for. How about, I don't know, the situation with COVID? How about standing by Kamala and watching and defending Joe Biden when he was president of the United States and couldn't put a sentence? Oh, he's fine. He's great. He's the sharpest guy you couldn't imagine. He runs circles around the rest of us. I have a hard time keeping up with him. We know what that was. We have a word for it here in America. Absolutely. She was lying through her teeth. So, and she wants us to believe that she is okay and that she believes in accountability in government. It's laughable.
But how does that look like in a legal realm?
And especially for people in the highest roles of power and authority, those who abuse their power and authority should be held accountable, and there should be consequence.
That's rich.
If you are president, let's just say in 2028 you are elected, will you make sure that there's accountability?
Oh, I believe firmly in accountability. Yes.
Yes. She believes in accountability. So, oh my gosh. Here's the story that comes along with it. This is from Red State. Hard to believe, but some polling has Kamala Harris as the leading Democrat candidate in 2028. From redstate.com. It's very early, not even clear that she would run. Other candidates are likely to overtake her in a real primary. She's never won a primary. But if the Democrats were foolish enough to put her forward, given the sound drubbing she got in 2024, I'm sure, this person writes, Republicans would love this. This is Nick Arama. Harris is clearly reaching low if she's bothering to go to Don Lemon's podcast to try to promote herself. And then she talks about the accountability. And but Republicans trying to hold Democrats accountable is bad. That's a head spinner. She's going to go on about Trump administration while ignoring the prosecutions against Trump. Add to that to the Democrats in Congress, like House Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, promising retribution against members of the Trump administration for things like state violence against the American people, when he's talking about, this is the immigration stuff. If Dems got back into power, the remaining 2 years would be all about their efforts to get Trump and the people in the administration. In other words, that's right. If you were to give them the keys to the castle again, I guarantee you they'll be tearing down the ballroom. They'll be ripping up everything that Donald Trump did. They will spend their days in Congress trying to impeach him. It ain't going anywhere. The Democrats are going to do anything they can to undo anything that Trump did. And at the end of the day, is that in the best interest of America? We can't stand to have anything with Trump's thumbprint on it. That will be the reaction. There is an ex-Dem insider, this is from FoxNews.com, named Lindy Lee. She reveals in a new book the Democrats who covered up Biden's cognitive decline. And she's doing a few interviews out there. And she says that the Democrats are left things in shambles. Here is Lindy Lee, an ex-Democrat.
Party is in complete shambles, and that's totally right. I actually had a donor call me at 3:30 a.m. just a few days ago complaining about how there's no leadership. The party is completely rudderless, and they basically elected 50% of the people who got us into this mess. I'm no longer part of that scene, but I don't know how they're going to get out of this wilderness. The leadership that they elected, they're so tone deaf. Their DNC vice chair is saying that we need to abolish ICE, that we need to defund police, and he's against the Second Amendment. The American people showed in November that this is not the agenda that they want. In 2004, Obama was already getting ready to run for president in 2008. This time, there's no one on the horizon who has that level of talent and ability to inspire. There just simply isn't. I don't see it. Do you?
No, I don't. The Democrats don't have anybody. They really don't. It is shocking to me when I look at the Republican side of the equation. I can name you 5 people that I think would make totally great presidents. Many of them serving in the current administration. J.D. Vance, he's if you read the polls, a lot of people think J.D. Vance is the guy. I was talking to a conservative that I know just yesterday. And she agreed with me that I think Marco Rubio is a remarkably impressive and very talented politician and a great leader. And he's doing things that are just amazing. And he would make a great nominee on the Republican side of the equation. There are others within the administration who would be great. And I would say to you that I look over on the Democrat side of the equation, and I just don't see anything. I mean, who you got? Kamala Harris? Really? Honestly? How did that work out for you last time? She won't get the nomination. It looks like Gavin Newsom's to lose, perhaps, but he's got all kinds of problems. Have you seen California? Have you been to California? Have you read anything about what he's doing in California? People are dying to get out of California. We're the beneficiary here in Tennessee of a lot of Californians who came here. And you know what? I used to be a little worried about that, thinking the Californians would come here and then they would try to change things. But they're the most dyed-in-the-wool and hawkish about what we're doing here of them all. They simply couldn't stand it there anymore. I haven't been to California in a while, but the last time I was in California, I found it to be a pleasant place, nice people. I didn't agree with the politics, of course, but it wasn't a horrible place, but it's turned into a sewer. I mean, I wouldn't recommend to any American going to San Francisco these days. And so, what you have here is you have a great deal of talent on the right side of the equation as we line up for 28. And over on the left side, I mean, Pete Buttigieg, that's your answer? I just don't see anybody emerging as a great leader on the Democrat side of the equation. Now, I will say this, politics abhors a vacuum. And if the Democrats find that they don't have anybody who can lead, And then they'll look around and they'll find somebody with no record whatsoever. And they'll say, this is our person, this is our guy, this is our woman. And they will promote that person. And because they don't have much of a record, they don't have much to go against. That's what they'll do. You mark my word on this. Couple other stories I want to get into the equation today. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced this morning, as was widely predicted over the weekend, that he will stand down as Labour leader and Prime Minister, ending months of political turmoil and opening a contest to replace him. The announcement follows mounting pressure on the Prime Minister after Labour suffered heavy losses in local elections in May and faced an increasingly vocal rebellion from its own lawmakers over his leadership and policy agenda. Comes less than 2 years after Starmer led Labour to one of its largest parliamentary majorities in the 2024 general election. But the Labour Party, like our Democrat Party, they can't help themselves. And they got in and did a lot of things that irritated people. And then the Labour Party started to lose seats in Parliament. They lost quite a few seats in May, and now Starmer has found that he can no longer function. I don't truly understand exactly a lot about British politics. I just haven't spent the time to learn it. It was hard enough trying to figure out our system of government without trying to learn theirs. But I get the impression in the UK right now that the politics are changing and people are fed up with chaotic liberal rule. And they're and especially now in Europe, people are getting very angry about the number of people who have come here from other countries who are changing the culture in Britain. And they're not particularly the nicest of people. And crime is a problem. Free speech is a problem. In the UK, free speech can get you arrested. Things we would say here in America and never blink an eye will end you up in trouble with the law in the UK. It is in this environment that Starmer has stepped down. Closer to home, very quickly, I just want to mention this, because he was a name you heard for so many years. Alan Greenspan, an economist who served as chairman of the Federal Reserve under 4 presidents, died on Monday, according to his wife, NBC News correspondent Andrea Mitchell. He was 100 years old. He had complications of Parkinson's disease. He was, one of the longest serving Federal Reserve chairs in history. Greenspan's reign at the central bank coincided with the Great Moderation, a period of stability from the mid-'80s to 2007, marked by low inflation, stock market gains, and strong economic growths. His extraordinary 18 years as chairman left an enduring legacy, and his dedication to the institution, the field of economics and public service, said John Williams, president and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in a statement. He did serve Democrats. He did serve Republicans. He was a steady force and a steady hand at the Fed. And he was the chairman of the Fed during an enormously stable period in the American economy. These were the boom years. There were a lot of boom years here when Alan Greenspan was the chair of the Fed, dead at the age of 100. Let's call it 52 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock on Super Talk.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Negotiations on nuclear issues and sanctions apparently leaving the Iran peace deal talks currently. Also, a close call at a major U.S. airport and a deadly shooting in Lebanon, Tennessee. All of that coming up at 2 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's 1:57 on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in for Chad Benson. And, I know Chad doesn't do a lot of phone calls. But I want to open up the phones now, and we're going to go into commercial break. We're going to do some news. We're going to do all that, and when we come out on the other side at the top of the 2 o'clock hour, about 2:05 or so, I want to hear from you about this. There's a story in the Tennessean that says that downtown Nashville is not so sticky among locals. I mean, what that means is that many people who live here don't go downtown. They don't have great experiences. In other words, they might come in occasionally, but they don't come back very often. And the curious is, why is this lack of stickiness? What is it that the people in this region don't like to go to downtown Nashville? And I know right now, within the sound of my voice, there are people who are yelling at the radio. And here's what I want you to do. While we're doing the news, Call me at 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-9986. And tell me what it is about the downtown experience that you like, or what is it that you dislike, and why is it that you don't go downtown? I think I know the answer to some of this. I think it has to do with, parking. I think it has to do with traffic, and I think it has to do with the woo girls, because I know that a lot of people out there don't like the woo girls. I'm okay with them, but I know a lot of people don't like the woo girls, But so what is it? 615-737-9986. Tell me what it is about the entire experience that you are having trouble with. Now, we're not going to get to these phone calls until after the news, but I think this is interesting. A new report measures how often residents visit their downtown and how long they stay. This is a concept called stickiness. Nashville ranked number 21 in the U.S. and number 57 globally for downtown stickiness. What is it about the downtown experience that keeps you from coming back? 615-737-9986. Brian Wilson in for Chad Benson. Phone lines are open. We'll come to this right after the news with Jay Harper.
It is exactly 2 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you a forecast here in a minute. Of course, we've got rain in the area, no doubt contributing to some traffic problems already. I should mention that 65 southbound just past exit 104 in Sumner County, a crash there. It's a big moving truck, apparently, that is involved in a crash, has the left lane blocked. In the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations, as they continue, technical negotiations on nuclear issues and sanctions now said to be the main focus. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge, he's in Switzerland, where the talks are taking place.
Trump signed that memorandum of understanding to reopen the Strait of Hormuz less than 5 days ago. It's looked pretty shaky. It has hinged on whether or not there's a ceasefire in Lebanon. Finally, on the ground in Lebanon, there seems to be calm. And there is this new mechanism which has been agreed on in the talks to bring in all parties to basically, if there is a firing incident by Hezbollah, backed by Iran or by the Israeli military, that mechanism potentially could be used to kind of de-escalate.
Federal investigators looking into a close call at Boston's Logan Airport. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez with details.
A spokesperson from Flight Radar 24 telling us that Delta was about 500 feet above the departing American flight as it crossed that runway. Listen to some of the agency audio.
American 3161, where you going? You cleared us for takeoff, 3161.
And the FAA telling us in a statement that the crew of the Delta flight executed a go-around at Boston Logan because another aircraft was departing from an intersecting runway.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, a man has been charged with criminal homicide after a woman was found dead inside an apartment at a Lebanon apartment complex. That's according to Lebanon police. Channel 4's Hunter Hoagland has more.
A man is facing charges there after a woman was found dead inside of an apartment. Last night, officers were called to the Hartman Plantation Apartments for reports of a possible shooting. When they got there, they found a woman who had been shot to death. 57-year-old Jerry Matthews was arrested there at the scene. Investigators do think this was some sort of domestic incident involving family members. So far, no other information has been released.
That is the latest news. Weather's on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
2:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am Brian Wilson. I am not Chad Benson. Chad Benson will be back soon. I am just filling in today. Very glad to be with you on what is a rainy Monday. There is a lot of rain in the area. It doesn't seem to be in our particular area any of it severe, although they're having some severe weather south of us. So beware. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. You cannot see me on the screen is what you're saying? Okay, I'll try to fix that while we're starting this thing. Bear with us on the feed. I'll be back shortly on the feed. But I wanted to start this conversation if I could. And that is, it has to do with downtown Nashville. Turns out that there's a study that's been done about what local people who live in the Nashville area, maybe they live in Davidson County, how they don't really like going downtown all that much. And they will go, but it's not like they enjoy the experience. And I'm sort of curious about what it is about the downtown experience that, you listeners of this radio station find that you don't like about downtown. I don't want to be hating on Nashville. I love Nashville. I'll go to downtown, but I have this thing. It has to be downtown worthy. You know what I'm saying? I want the downtown experience to be something that is worth my time. And so when I...
like a Vince Gill show at the Ryman.
Yeah, I would do that. I would do that for sure. No problem at all. So, there we go. You should be able to see me now. I'm sorry. I've been trying to work on that. Okay, so I'm back on the stream. I don't mind going downtown but it's got to be downtown worthy. And maybe I'm an old curmudgeon, so, I don't like the traffic and I don't like the hassles with parking and it's expensive and all that. But, I will go. So I want to open up the phone lines now, if I could, at 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-WWTN. If you're within the sound of my voice, if somebody lives in the area, what is it about the downtown experience that you don't like? Maybe we can help out the city fathers and all that to help them understand what people are experiencing and why it is that Nashvillians and people who live in the Nashville area don't come down to downtown area perhaps as much as they ordinarily would. To the phone lines we go. We already have people stacked up ready to talk about this. 615-737-9986. Mike and Dixon, you're up first. Hello, Mike. You're on with Brian on the Chad Benson Show. Tell me a little bit about what it is about the downtown experience that keeps you from coming back. Or maybe you just ignore all that and you do come back.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Yeah, man, it's been 3 years since I've been downtown.
3 years? Where do you live? Yeah. You live in Dixon, right? Okay.
Right. And it's the parking. Everything has gotten very expensive. And the last few times I was down there, I did not have a good experience. One day we parked over at the Nissan Stadium and walked across the pedestrian bridge. And we hadn't been back down on Broadway maybe 30 minutes, and the police sirens went crazy. There was people up on the bridge that just robbed people at gunpoint in broad daylight.
Wow.
And, yeah, it happened like 11 or 11:30 that day. We just came off the pedestrian bridge, so they was behind us. And after that, and that day, the food experiences just wasn't that good. And I thought, you know what, it's going to be a while before I come back. And and you see people down there dragging their kids around. There's nothing for little kids to do down there.
Right.
And that's part of it. And I'm just like, I think it's going to be a while before I go back. Used to, you could go down there and enjoy yourself. Now everything is so commercialized, and everything is people everywhere. To me, it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, so it's just but Lower Broad is what you're talking about is your concern, right?
Right.
Okay, sounds good. Listen, what would it take for you to come back? That's perhaps the more important question.
Well, that is a good question. I really don't know. It'd have to be a really good experience. Like I said, you would see people out there, you see famous people out down there, and maybe you still do, but I never did see any. And maybe they should,
Maybe the people who have their names on the bars ought to show up at those bars more often.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think they do, and I think there are people who do show up. And I don't want to cast too wide a net here, but I really appreciate the call. Got a lot of people stacked up here, so let me move on. Thank you, Mike. Good hearing from you. Mary in Nashville lives in Nashville. What do you think about the downtown area? What's your experience? Do you go down or do you hate to go down?
Hi, Brian, and it's nice to hear your voice back on. I love listening to you. So,
Thank you.
Well, I've been in Nashville for 30 years, and I used to be on Music Row. I'm a musician, and I would go down to Lower Broad in those days, and it was very family friendly. You could bring your mom or your kids down there and really enjoy yourself. And over about the last 10 years, it has just changed so much. I'm like Mike. I think it was about 3 years ago that I went down there at night, and the first thing I noticed was the smell. It was pretty bad. There's quite a lot of homeless people, and it's very crowded. Also, it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
It's just the parking. You just have to take a lift to park down there. It's insane. It takes forever. It costs a fortune. One little drink costs a fortune, and it's just not the same experience. There's also the aspect of the possible crime, like Mike said. I mean, there's been lots of stories about, people getting things dropped in their drinks and they disappear. I mean, girls, women are worried about going down there. And speaking of the women, I don't mind the woo girls. I think they bring money and lots of tourism to our city. They're just having fun,
Yeah. What's
they're
wrong with
a little noisy.
I like the woo girls. I got no problem with the woo girls.
I don't either. I live in East Nashville, and they're all climbing all over this place at our Airbnbs, and you can see them coming a mile away. But they're having fun, and they're okay with me. But it's just the whole downtown experience really is just, it's not that great anymore. And I'd like to say I think Freddie is causing a lot of trouble. All these restaurants closing closing down.
Well,
and the parking
that is
so expensive.
That's a whole different topic and a good one. We should probably do that someday. I mean, because there are a lot of restaurants and businesses that are closing down because of the tax structure, and it's getting too expensive to do business. And I saw a list this weekend. I was reading somewhere, some social media. A person had put together a list of all the restaurants in the Nashville area who have closed of late, and it's quite a few. If you tax those people too hard, you kill the goose what laid the golden egg.
No kidding. And how about this? A lot of the musicians are having trouble because the parking is so expensive. They can't get down there. It's shut down for them to get their gear and their instruments into the bars. There's all these crazy rules about that. I mean, he's messing with the whole aura and charm of it, and it's really scaring me.
All right, Mary, thank you so much. I appreciate the call. I got a lot of folks stacked up here. Want to move on. David in Murfreesboro. Hello, David. David, you're on with Brian on the Chad Benson show.
Brian,
tell me what you think, David.
I can't tell you what an honor is to speak with you.
Well, you're welcome. No problem. I'm glad to be here.
And it's really nice to have some a thought-provoking and entertaining host back at this time slot. I know it's temporary, but it's good to hear you.
Well, let's talk about the topic at hand, okay?
All right. The problem I've got with going downtown is really simple. All these stars and all these people have aligned themselves with these huge restaurant groups, and their business models are 95% a one-time service. So their food, it's marginal at best because they're not looking for the repeat customers. They're looking at tourism. They're going to be here for the weekend and they're going to go away. It's like I went to one of the stars and his wife's place, made a big to-do on the television show about it. And Brian, the food was horrible. So just going downtown, it's just not worth it anymore.
That's an interesting thing. I've had good dining experiences downtown, but I don't normally go to a bar for my food. But, you're right. If you go there and you're spending your tourism dollars, you ought to get a good experience. You ought to get some music. You ought to be able to get something cold to drink, and you ought to get something, it's bar food, but it ought to be, decent. And you're right. I hope that's not a universal experience, but, I think you may be onto something there. David, thank you so much. Gerald, let's move on to Gerald next. Hello, Gerald. You're on with Brian on the Chad Benson Show. Tell me what you think about your downtown experience. Hello, Gerald. Are you there, buddy? I don't know. Gerald must be listening on the stream or something. Erica in Goodlettsville. Let's move on. Hello, Erica. You're on with Brian on the Chad Benson Show. What is your experience about being downtown? What do you think?
Oh man, I gotta say the same as the rest of the people, but I think what's different for me is, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I'm a transplant. I moved from Portland, Oregon after living there for many, many years, and I just got sick of seeing human poop and vomit and not feeling safe out there. And it's not as much fun when you go downtown and start seeing the same things in Nashville and not enjoying the experiences as much. My husband's in the music world, and there's a lot of things we love about downtown Nashville, but we were living in Antioch, and we just got sick of everything down there. So we moved up here, and we want to spend more time down there, but as he says all the time, Nashville's an hour away from Nashville, so you got to plan so much time to do anything fun. But we still love Nashville. I love being here. So glad I moved to Tennessee, but would love to enjoy the experience a little bit more down there.
Erica, I think you've hit it right on I think we love the area. We love Nashville. We love Tennessee. And we want to go downtown and we want to have that entertaining experience. I don't particularly go downtown. I thought it's an interesting story here that this is a story about what they call CBDs, Central Business Districts. And it's looking at it. And one of the things that you hear from people is, I only go down there when I have something like a meeting that I have to go to. In other words, it's purposefully driven. That's the main reason. They're not going down for the enjoyment if you live here. You're going down because you have to, because that's where the meeting is. Well, that's that thing I got to pick up. It's downtown. But just to go downtown to enjoy it, you find it, most people are not. I want to move on. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Michelle in Clarksville, hello. You're on the Chad Benson Show. I'm Brian Wilson. What's your thought about the downtown area?
Hi. So I am originally from Los Angeles. But I have brought friends of mine into downtown Nashville, and it's been a quite very cool experience. And you just got to, we take the train, we park it over at Donaldson, we take the train in, get off the train, go to Old Reds, no waiting, and get a wonderful meal. Afterwards, you go get an ice cream, and then by that time, the fireworks are ready to go, and then right after the fireworks, they give you 45 minutes to get back on the train, and which is right there from eyesight, and then it takes you back to Donaldson. It's quite cool.
Yeah, so you're saying the way to avoid some of because the major thing is you hear people say is parking. The parking is so bad down there. I just hate it. It's so expensive. Is what you're saying is take the train. And then, the train doesn't go there every time you need to go there, but for a lot of people that could be a good alternative, right?
Absolutely, because there's 4 or 5 different locations that you can park your car for free, catch the train, and the train is like $10, $15. And catch the train and go see everything that you want to see. You're only waiting. You don't have any waiting at Old Red. There's no waiting at his place.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for that. I greatly appreciate it. We have some empty phone lines. If you're interested, I'd love to hear from you on this topic. 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-9986. What do you think about the downtown area? We're based on this article, very interesting article, that's in the Tennessean. And really, the survey is not necessarily just about Nashville, but about other downtown areas, other central business district areas of towns, and what they found. And the survey reveals that that downtown Nashville is not a place where the locals tend to go and return. They say that there's no stickiness. That's the hip term that the people use when they're talking about, we want people to come back and return. We want it to be a sticky destination. We want them to come. We want them to stay. We want them to spend their money. We're talking about local people here, and we want them to come back. And if you don't do that, then it's an unsticky situation. And, it's a weird word, but that's what they say. So the question I have for you is, what is it about the downtown experience that you have found troublesome? 615-737-9986. I got one person on the line. Dakota, stay there. And we want to hear from more of you. Give us a call. Right now, it's 20 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in for for Chad Benson, who has the day off.
We'll have the latest on the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations coming up at the bottom of the hour. Also locally, a Lewisburg teen dies in a racing mishap, and an arrest warrant issued for a country music star. We'll have those stories at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 24 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Chad Benson Show. I'm Brian Wilson in for Chad. As far as I know, he's back tomorrow. So there you go. Happy to be here. We're talking about downtown Nashville. The experts in tourism have looked at the downtown area and said it's really strange. For some reason, the locals don't come here very often. They don't come as often as they do in other downtown areas. What is it about the Nashville experience that is maybe a little off-putting to you? Well, I think we all love being in Nashville. I think we all love the area. But why is it that you don't go downtown? Maybe we can help the tourism people and the folks at City Hall to make it a better experience. 615-737-9986 to the phone lines we go. Dakota in Green Hills, you're on with Brian on the Chad Benson Show. So what is it about the downtown experience? What is it that you think might keep people from coming back?
I think the number one thing that bothers me is what people are allowed to wear down there.
In what way? I haven't noticed that.
I mean, just it's basically legal and socially acceptable nowadays to wear what basically amounts to your underwear in public. I would never bring my 8-year-old daughter downtown to do something fun because she's going to see somebody half naked. When back in past previous decades, that would have been totally unacceptable.
Yeah. Well, public standards do seem to be slipping in that area. I think you're probably right. All right, Dakota, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for calling in and participating. James, when I think of James is up, and he's from Lebanon, and James, when I live here in bucolic Watertown, and when I say to the missus, I'm going downtown, I'm most often not talking about Nashville. I'm talking about Lebanon. That's downtown for me. But let's talk about the downtown area in Nashville. You got a problem with it?
Yeah, we're on the same page with Lebanon. Yeah, I do, Brian. By the way, I don't mind you staying retired as long as you keep filling in like you have been. We miss you too much, brother.
Thank you much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the culture down there. I used to go down there when I was younger and drink with my buddies, go down there unarmed and have a good time. Now, it's a little bit more dangerous. I don't go down there anymore. I don't party down there. When I do, I'm the DD. I'm sober, watching everyone's back. There's a lot of riffraff. There's a lot of ghetto people. There's a lot of out-of-towners. There's a lot of internationals. That country music culture, I think it's safe to say it's gone, and it's been gone. You can still go down there and get drunk and have a good time, but it's too busy. It doesn't feel safe. I wouldn't take my wife down there. Just me and my wife. I wouldn't go out and drink with her down there and go dancing and all that. It's just too dangerous now. And the culture's gone. The culture that everybody loved, that Southern music culture, it's still there. There's spots, but it's gotten kind of out of control. I think we've lost control in Nashville.
All right. Well, thank you for that, James. I greatly appreciate it. How about Angela in Hendersonville? Angela, wrap us up here for this half hour. What is it that you experience in downtown that causes you perhaps to not go down as often as you might?
It is the culture. I feel like they are really pushing for drunkards. We went down mid-morning for a archery tournament for my niece, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and one of the buses came by, and the lady is flashing her top. So it's not a family-oriented place anymore. It's more geared towards people getting drunk, like the peddling taverns and things like that. So it's very sad. I've grown up in Nashville, lived all over East Nashville until my adult life, and now I live in Cottontown, but I work in Hendersonville. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think your experience is one that a lot of people have experienced, and I appreciate the call, Angela, and thank everybody who called. I really, and thank you for the kind words about coming back and filling in from time to time. That's all very nice. This is interesting. I'm digging through this story a little deeper into what it is specifically about Nashville that is keeping, this is from the Tennessean, according to the study, parking and mobility are some of the biggest challenges for people visiting the Central Business District. And they talk then, of course, in the Tennessean about Mayor O'Connell's $3.1 billion transportation plan. I haven't heard a thing about that. Have you? I haven't. But anyway, there you go. Maybe that'll get better with time. Number 1 city with the stickiest downtown, Detroit. Number 2, Washington, D.C., surprisingly, but there's a lot to see down there. Boston, number 3, Seattle, number 4, Newark, Chicago, San Francisco, Raleigh, Salt Lake City, and Kansas City. I've heard they got some crazy women there. So there you go. Thank you so much for the calls. Time for the news now with Jay Harper on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 2:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you a weather forecast here momentarily. We should point out I-40 eastbound at exit 205. The left lane is blocked there. Looks like TDOT is doing some kind of work, clearing some drains there. Also 65 southbound just past exit 104 in Sumner County. The left lane blocked there due to a crash earlier involving a moving truck. In the U.S.-Iran peace negotiations, mediators say both sides are agreeing to varying things. Technical negotiations on nuclear issues and sanctions, however, apparently lead the focus of the discussions currently. ABC News correspondent Karen Travers, she has the latest.
It was also notable to hear the president say that this is a ceasefire extension. This is not a final deal. There are now negotiations taking place over this 60-day window.
Back here in Tennessee, a racing community is mourning after a 17-year-old died in an accident at the Duck River Raceway in Lewisburg Saturday night. Bentley Potts' mom, Ashley Howell, posted on social media he flipped in his race car and didn't survive. His cousin was a passenger in the car, but thankfully has survived. Bentley just graduated high school. The school described the young man as a cherished member of our school family whose smile, personality, and enthusiasm touched the lives of many. And finally, a warrant for Bailey Zimmerman's arrest has been issued in the state of New Mexico. That's according to new court documents filed in Albuquerque Metropolitan Court. In a new report shared by TMZ, Zimmerman is facing felony and misdemeanor charges after allegedly wrecking a hotel room and causing more than $16,000 in damages. Court documents, which are public, state that the warrant was issued on June 18th. The charges include criminal damage to property over $1,000. That's a felony, along with 2 counts of falsely obtaining services. The charges are reportedly tied to an incident back on May 27 when Zimmerman was scheduled to perform in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the amphitheater at Sandia Resort and Casino. According to TMZ, local authorities claim that Zimmerman went, quote, on a bender and trashed the hotel room and later canceled that night's performance after being removed from the resort. That is the latest news. We've got weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It's 38 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. You're listening to the Chad Benson Show. Brian Wilson in for Chad. Listen, we're into the last 22 minutes of the program today. Matt Murphy will be joining me. I'm gonna carve out some time. Matt and I haven't had a chance to talk in a while, and I want to find out what's on his mind. And so he'll join us here in just a bit. And so what I like to do sometimes toward the end of the show is take a bunch of stories that, sometimes, when I lay out a show on the rundown, I try to make sure that, this leads into that and this blends into that story. They're called segues and blends, and I try to do that. But, there are just sometimes that you find this story that you really feel like you got to talk about, and it doesn't blend well with a bunch of others. So I'm going to just squish them all together, okay? So bear with me. Over the weekend, I saw a piece of videotape from Tulsi Gabbard, the outgoing director of national intelligence. I don't know what happened with her, and I don't know why she's leaving. Apparently, it has to do something with an illness in her family, her husband. But one way or the other, she's dropping some bombs on the way out the door, and this one has to do with COVID-19. This is from justthenews.com. U.S. Intel located video proving that coronavirus research in China, even as Dr. Fauci said, that was not happening. Newly declassified documents show that the intelligence community had circulated a video of a U.S. government grantee describing the experiments in China to manipulate this is called gain of function research. Coronavirus is to predict that it would actually transmit from human to human. In other words, in China, they were working on a bat virus, and they were trying to figure out, can we make this something that can be communicated not just to other bats, but to people? And they were messing with this virus. In the video, which was posted to the online streaming platform Rumble, Dr. Peter Daszak explained how his colleagues in China grafted spike proteins from discovered coronaviruses onto pseudoparticles in order to test whether or not it would be possible to take this virus and have it infect humans. We found other coronaviruses in bats. Some of them looked very similar to SARS. So we sequenced the spike protein, he said, the protein that attaches to cells. Then, I didn't do this work. My colleagues in China did this work. You create pseudoparticles. You insert the spike proteins from those viruses and see if they bind to human cells. And each step of the way, you move closer and closer to this virus. It could really become pathogenic to people. Rand Paul told us this. He said that's what was going on. And he was widely, proclaimed to be a crank. No, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, this didn't happen. He and Fauci would go tooth and tongue at it. Fauci continued all the time he was there to deny that there was gain of function research going on in China. And here's a video from somebody who was involved in it who confirms it.
Kind of explains why he needed that pardon.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm telling you, millions of people died as a result of this gain of function research that Fauci kept saying wasn't happening, but actually he was in charge of the agency that was helping to get this research funded in China. And it leaked out of the lab. There's no doubt about that now. Nobody really believes this whole thing about the wet market. I mean, it sounded like an interesting idea. Wasn't far from where this gain of function research was going on. One way or the other, I think it leaked out of the lab somehow. And I think that, millions of people died because of the funding that Anthony Fauci gave to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the WIV. There's a special place in hell for the people who are doing this kind of research, I think. Here's this very quickly with the time running down. Afton Bain. I don't find myself in agreement with hardly anything she says, but she has taken, she's a Democrat, she's a liberal. What is it? Matt calls her the cute communist. I don't know. Afton Bain. I agree with her on this. She has problems with what's going on with Tennessee's Department of Children's Services.
The testimony from these 14 families allege systemic retaliation, allege sexual assault, allege falsified case documents from DCS workers. So we are really seeing a systemic type of corruption within DCS that needs to be intervened by the federal government.
I think she may be right there. I think Tennessee Department of Children's Services is not doing the best work for these poor children that find themselves in need of help. I don't think that we're putting enough. I don't know if it's about the funding or the people or the lack of people. I don't know what it is. But ever since I came to Nashville in 2018, I've been hearing conversation about DCS, and it's almost all universally bad. And we don't seem to be able to get this situation under control. I mean, if you're a child and you find yourself in a dangerous situation because, your parents aren't taking care of you, maybe you've been abused, sexually abused or physically abused, one way or the other, there are times when the government needs to step in and help these children, and you're placing them in a situation that may be worse. We need to get to the bottom of what's going on with DCS, and I would call upon the political leaders within the sound of my voice to make this a top priority. These children need our help. I was talking earlier about the downtown area, and somebody mentioned that, they're closing up all these restaurants, and it turns out that a lot of people are going out of business. There's a lot of businesses downtown are finding themselves, being run out of business because they can't afford to pay their taxes. Here's, for example, Burger Up will join Mafioso's Josephine's at 12 South Tap Room as others on a list of shuttered businesses in the area. Right now, if you're a local business in Nashville, it doesn't look good, said Jeremy Barlow, owner of Fry's Ice Cream. Athenic Puhark had frequented the burger joint, Burger Up, since 2013. She thought it was a joke. Oh, no, that's got to be an April Fool's joke. Wait, she rechecked the date. What date is it? How do I stop this from happening? Too late, it's happened. She went for a Burger Up that night and posted on TikTok an attempt to rally support. And a lot of people are really sad about the Burger Up thing.
It's one thing if the market runs you out of business, but it's another when the government does it.
Yeah.
Government has no business running. I mean, they should not be putting this kind of burden on business.
Well, and I would feel so much better about, what's going on if only I felt like the city was taking the money that we give them and using them for the things that they should be using. I think their priorities are all out of whack here.
Yeah.
They're all about the social programs. They're all about protecting the illegal immigrants. They're all about this and they're all about, and there's not, but what are they doing to make the city a better place? We just heard people say they don't feel safe downtown. We just heard people say, I can't afford to park downtown. Fix the downtown area. Make sure that you have police and fire that have all of the tools. Get the dadgum license plate readers up and running. Come on. Everybody else is using this, and it's making their communities safer. What is in the world is, why are you focused so much on this other stuff, but not doing the basics of government? Get the basics covered. Take the money that you get in taxpayer and then and take some of these social programs. Give it $1.5 million to organizations that are here to support illegal aliens who shouldn't be here at all. Okay. I want to take a break here and call it quits because I want to have some time to talk to my friend Matt Murphy. It is 47 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock on Super Talk. It's 51 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let's welcome on in Matt Murphy, who's up next on the Super Talk. Matt, are you excited as I am that apparently there's going to be a fourth Austin Powers movie?
I am I'm as excited about the Austin Powers film as I am about Toy Story 5.
Oh yeah, that's right. I read that's happening. Listen, I got to tell you, I love this movie. Do you know? Who loved this movie? You know who loved this movie more than anything in the world? You'd be really surprised. George W. Bush.
Really?
He loved this movie.
Huh.
He would quote it. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
And apparently on Air Force One, this was like one of the favorite movies of choice. They would pull this up and watch it while they were flying around the world.
I wonder if he demanded to pointed around the room and asked, who does number 2 work for? Who does number 2 work for? Who does number 2 work for?
And then, of course, Mike Myers' portrayal of all of the main characters.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Oh, groovy, baby.
It's a man, baby.
It's a man. It was a funny series of films. I was absolutely in love with Mike Myers during that period of time.
Yeah.
And then he did that one movie and fell off the radar screen. He did it was called The Love Guru.
Yeah, but I admire him because the reason I think he fell off the grid was it was for family reasons.
Oh, really?
He wanted to take care of his family and wanted to be at home. And so he sort of stepped out of the limelight. And now his kids are up and grown, and I think he's looking for things to do. I saw a commercial featuring Dr. Evil the other day, and it was him.
Verizon.
Oh, yeah. It's all of them were in there. Well, I mean, obviously, Robert Wagner was not in there. I guess Rob Lowe had already taken over for Robert Wagner anyway as number 2. But, yeah, I saw that, too. It was fun.
Yeah.
Seth Green was in on it. So, yeah.
Why is it, though, that women universally hate this movie?
It's a lot of boob jokes, a lot of fart jokes. You know what I mean? A lot of that 14-year-old guy humor that we never get rid of, I think. I mean, my good friend Jay St. Clair always tells me, Brian, that whatever your sense of humor was when you're 14, you're going to carry that with you for the rest of your life. So I hope you enjoy it.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Women feel about this movie the same way they feel about one of my other favorite movies. I can watch this. It's if I come across it on TV, it's where you drop the remote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm in. Airplane.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
guys love that, and women universally hate it.
What about Blazing Saddles?
Oh, there's another one.
I would bet that Blazing Saddles is in that conversation. I don't know of a female that I've ever talked to that went, oh, yeah, I love Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And then on the more serious side, one of my favorite films of all time is Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman and George Kennedy. And my wife hates that movie. Just absolutely hates it. Can't stand it. And I've never met a woman that really liked Cool Hand Luke. So, yeah, I guess it's just, guys are from, what is the old, girls are from Mars and boys are from Venus? Or I might have that backwards. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, women are from Venus and men are from Mars.
Yeah. Sure. Brian, you are the busiest retired man I've ever met in my life. I mean, how about you're retired? Brian Wilson is retired, and he has worked more on Super Talk 99.7 WTN in the past month than any other host on the station.
Well,
and he's got another date filling in for you coming up.
I got one filling in for you on the 2nd of July.
That's right.
And but I will say after that, I don't see anything on the horizon. But, these things come in waves, and it really boils down to the fact that, well, there are 4 talents on Super Talk 99.7, and they've each, I don't know how many weeks they all have, but a bunch. Because they've all been, a lot of, you've been with the company how many years?
Yeah, I've been with Cumulus for 18 years. So I have 20 days, never take them all.
Yeah, I at one point had 5 weeks of vacation.
Well, the last time, and I don't want to get too much into this, but I mean, I think you could probably say this about any industry or any career path. They love to, when you're in those negotiations and they say, hey, well, we'll give you another week of vacay.
Yeah.
In lieu of this or that or the other thing. And it's always in lieu of something, right? And I'm like, I don't use all the vacay I have right now. Why do you think that that's a bonus?
I was supposed to be on vacation this week.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be?
I was supposed to be, and I forgot.
Bell forgot to take vacation, Brian.
Oh,
that's quite something.
Well, I mean, I had, but if you add up all the weeks of vacation that people have, there's a lot of time to fill. And if I'm available to fill it and I'm still around twiddling my thumbs, I love having, the opportunity, not on a daily basis, but on a fairly regular basis to get on the air and bloviate like I used to do. I think we have one of the greatest audiences ever.
Yes.
I don't think people understand just how tremendous our audience is, how loyal, how dedicated they are, and how what an impact. I will say this as well. This has been driven home to me recently from several comments. What an impact this radio station has on this community. I don't think people truly grasp it. It's really a remarkable thing. I've been in a lot of places, and I've worked in a lot of newsrooms, and I've worked in a lot of radio stations. And there's just something special about the audience and the experience of working for Super Talk 99.7. I am more than happy to maintain my relationship.
Well, we love having, we're blessed. That you have not gone quietly into that good night. I love that you're coming back. And that's the thing, Brian, is that when Dan Mandis is off, he wants the A player. He wants Brian Wilson. When Matt Murphy's off, he wants Brian Wilson. When Chad Benson's off, he wants Brian Wilson. So you are popular by demand, sir. That is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm very. So tell me, we got about 2 minutes left. So tell me what you got coming up on your program today.
Obviously, I think all of us are digesting and trying to figure out what the memorandum of understanding truly means and what the latest on the negotiations truly mean. And my concern is what it has always been when dealing with the Iranian leadership, and that is whether or not you can believe anything that they say. And my central concern, and I hope for the best, but you analyze it recognizing that the worst might come out of this.
Sure.
I'm as concerned as I was during the Obama administration that they're just a bunch of liars and they're lying to us. And that we'll dissect that and kind of break it down as to what has happened today. Obviously, our good friends on the political left are absolutely freaking out about the reflecting pool. I don't know how much you got a chance to talk about that at all today, Brian. But
I did. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The figure I saw was that Obama spent $34 million on it. And because it's had a pumping problem and an algae problem for a long time. So we're going to break some of those numbers down, how much liberal freak out there was over the $34 million versus the $14 million. And then of course, this D&I dump on Anthony Fauci by Tulsi Gabbard, as she walked out of the door, is a big, big story. And I love your angle on Nashville. And we're going to be talking about some of the businesses closing down in Nashville, Tennessee, and what that means for the general area moving forward into throughout 2026 into 2027.
All right, the list of businesses that are closing in Nashville is as long as my monkey arms.
Those are long arms.
They're long arms.
It's a long list, buddy.
Listen, we look forward to listening to the Matt Murphy Show here coming up in just a few moments. Thank you so much for letting me be with you. Time for the news with Jay Harper on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.